guys, Justin here again from Small World Gaming, and today marks kind of a special day. You may be seeing this tomorrow because it's Father's Day, and I don't think I'm actually going to get a chance to upload this today or not. But Father's Day is also another special day in our world, and that is June 17th, and this marks 1 year, I do believe, I think I've got the right date, 1 year since Warhammer 40k 8th edition came out. And man, what a year it has been. So this has probably been my most active year ever for Warhammer. I've played since I was like, I guess 10 years old. I don't know. So that's a good 20 years for me. Now you know how old I am. Woo. Yeah, so I've been playing for about 20 years, and I have never had more fun than I have with 8th edition, to be honest with you. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that absolutely hate it. They think it's been dumbed down. It's Age of Sigmar in the future. They can go on and on and on. People complain about everything. So, hey, if you don't like it, you don't have to play it. That's all I have to say to you guys. But I'm having a ton of fun. I've been going to more tournaments. I've been playing more games, and it's just been super awesome. So I kind of wanted to talk about 8th edition and how it's changed over the last year, and what maybe the current meta is. Now, I'm a competitive player, so most things I talk about, just so you know, are going to be in a competitive sense. So what that looks like, match play, high-level tournaments. So am I a high-level player? I don't know, but that's what I play on. So you know, when 8th edition first came out, it was, well, at least when I first played the games, so essentially like my very first game of 8th edition was against a Chaos Space Marine list. Neither of us really knew what we were doing, and I had been playing War Convocation up until that point pretty heavily. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna bring my War Convocation list in 8th edition, whatever fits in 2,000 points, and see what happens. I ended up winning the game, but it was not, man, most of those units just were not good. So or I couldn't even fit half of the things that I wanted to fit. I quickly realized that AdMech had pretty much lost all of their special powers. The Knights seemed good, but I wasn't really sure. You know, I was like, ooh, cool, it's got 24 wounds instead of 6. I mean, how could it ever possibly die? You know, we quickly found out that they die pretty easily, and that they're not that great, especially once codexes started rolling out. But in the beginning of 8th edition, you know, the Forge World indexes came out right away, and there was a new army in there that a lot of people missed, to be honest, and that was Dark Mechanicum. So in the Chaos Forge World Index, there's 2 new HQs that were both Dark Mechanicum, the Hellwright and the Hellwright on a band, and then all of the Knights in the Forge World also could, instead of taking Questor Traitoris, could take Dark Mechanicum keyword. So I kind of jumped on that because my army was already Dark Mechanicum themed. That's how the way I've been going. A lot of guys had scythes and chains hanging off of them and things like that. So I went ahead and decided I would roll with that, since Knights seemed pretty good, at least at the time. So I played a number of tournaments, just smaller RTTs, running Dark Mechanicum. I think I was running 3 Knights in the super heavy detachment. It was probably my Castigator, Acheron, and then Asterix. And then I had like my Hellwright, I had a Demon Prince, I had some Bloodletters, Cultists, things like that. And I wasn't very used to playing Chaos, so it was all a little bit new to me. I think I had 2 Helldrakes, maybe even, or it was probably 1 Helldrake, sorry. It was just at 2,000 points. The Knights were a little bit cheaper, so just at 2,000 points. And I won a few local RTTs, and I'm like, sweet, this is awesome. The AdMech code, but then the AdMech Codex came out, so and basically it was like, ooh, do I play something with no special rules, or do I play one of the very first codexes with all the special rules? So pretty much from that point, I played AdMech mainly, except for LVO. I did go to the 2017 LVO with Dark Mechanicus. I was the only Dark Mechanicus player, which was both cool and sad at the same time. I'm not really sure. So I won best Dark Mechanicus player for the season, since I was one of the few people that had been playing it in the tournaments, and I also won best Dark Mechanicus player at LVO, which wasn't very hard. Some people gave me some grief about that, but hey, I had fun. It's cool. I got to bring home a trophy. You know, I was excited about it. So If I could do it again, I probably will. But this year, since AdMech has a codex, there's still a year later, there's no more new Dark Mechanicus stuff. Fires of Syraxis is still not out. I was kind of hoping that would have Dark Mechanicum stuff in it, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So Dark Mechanicum's kind of gotten put on the shelf for me, along with Knights, to be honest. So AdMech it was. I was playing a ton of AdMech, but codexes started rolling out, and more codexes rolled out. Since AdMech was one of the very first, I think they were right after Space Marines. And just about every codex after them was way better. Once you hit the Guard Codex, Space Marines, AdMech, whatever else had come out before that, Death Guard, those were pretty shit, to be honest. Now, Death Guard still got some good play, but Space Marines and AdMech, not so much anymore. Imperial Guard was everywhere, so you saw a lot of the big guys in the tournaments. Almost all of them were just playing straight Guard, and it was almost impossible to beat. They were cheap, they had better rules than you, they had all the stratagems. I mean, stratagem after stratagem, just, man, their relics were better, their warlord traits were better, and some of us that got codexes before then, I think, just felt pretty shafted on that. But that's what happens in a new edition. If you haven't played Warhammer for a long time, power creep is real. It's the same thing here. And I know they were trying to keep it down. I think that they said at the beginning of 8th edition that they were going to release all of the codexes within 1 year. That obviously didn't happen, but they released most of them. So what do we got left? We have Genestealer Cult. Ynnari's not getting one, so we have Genestealer Cult, Space Wolf, Orcs, Sisters of Battle, Imperial Agents, maybe, if they come out with one. That's about it. Renegade Knights, maybe, because they didn't get any new rules in the Knight Codex that just came out, so they could probably use a good update. But other than that, not much. So I'm pretty excited to see some of these new codexes come out. But anyways, getting back to kind of what happened with 8th, though. So a bunch of codexes have come out. By the time LVO came around, Knights were no longer good. You got past like the ATC thing of either bringing like Guilliman and 3 Knights, or Mortarion and Magnus and 3 Knights, those kind of combos, or just a ton of Storm Ravens, Fire Raptors, lists like that. So those weren't around anymore by the time LVO came out. Although people were still playing like the Guilliman Fire Raptor. I did play that twice at LVO, I think. But Knights just sucked, and I brought 3 Knights and Nurgle Demons to make my Dark Mechanicus list, and I did not do well. I won 2 games, and I lost 4. Honestly, I'm surprised I won 2 games, because there's some pretty good opponents out there. But it was fun. I always have fun at LVO. If you have not gone to LVO, I highly recommend going. In fact, if you are the kind of player that doesn't go to tournaments in general, doesn't like the tournament feel, or maybe you've heard a lot of bad things about tournament players in general, don't. Just stop. Just go. You'll have fun. Trust me. You'll probably get your ass kicked. But the point is that you learn from it, right? So you go to these tournaments, you learn what people are playing, you learn what works and what doesn't work, and you try something else until you've really found something that really works and is fun for you to play. Because sometimes those things don't mix together. If you look at the current meta list, you're like, oh, I have to take a Guard Battalion, or I have to take Blood Angels, or I have to take Custodes Shield Captains, and whatever, you know, or whatever you're playing. Or if you're playing Eldar and you're a Laytok, or the fact that I have to use a Laytok to be competitive, or now I have to have a Cabal of the Blackheart detachment to be competitive. That's not always fun. You don't always want to buy those models. You don't want that Guard Battalion in your army. You want to play Purist. Don't fall into that stuff. Just play what you like. Sure, it might not be as competitive, but you're going to get lucky sometimes. You're going to win. What I would probably focus on, if you don't want to bring the Guard Battalion, or if you don't want to bring the Cabal of the Blackheart detachment, or whatever it may be, try to find something in your codex that maybe not everybody takes, but is really good against that Guard Battalion. You know, maybe if you're playing AdMech like me, maybe you take more snipers. You know, try to pick off those guys that are generating all the CP. Maybe it's assassins, you know, to get those guys. If you're playing against Dark Eldar, maybe you try the new Helverins out. You know, they've got longer range, and they can you know, outrange those guys, hit their Ravagers and stuff pretty well. you know, maybe you try to reduce the amount of CP if you're playing it, if you're playing against Eldar. I don't know. There's things you can do, and maybe I think a future video coming up quick will probably be how to beat Dark Eldar, what you can do with your army, and maybe I'll go through each army and try to list that out. I don't know if that'll work or not, but we'll see. But continuing on, we had codex after codex after codex. Sorry, codex after codex release. And FAQ after FAQ. So that was the other big thing, compared to I think the one FAQ we got in 7th edition, and that was at the very end of it. There has been a FAQ almost every week or every other week, and then there's been chapter approved, which came out and changed a bunch of things, and then this big spring FAQ which came out in April, and that really changed the game. So now I think we're finally at that point in 8th edition after this FAQ where games really feel good. You don't have to play against that 8 or 7 Flyrant list, you know, that might beat everyone. You know, there's just nothing you can do about it, kind of thing, because it's just each unit in themselves is overpowered. You don't have to fight 10 shield captains or whatever it may be. I don't know. You know, some of the points got adjusted. Dark Reaper spam kind of gone. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about that so much. Now every game you go up against, in this, let's say that we take a look at the Bug Eater GT, we take a look at Flying Monkey coming up, which I'll be going to. All these lists are really different, and it makes me happy. You have a really diverse field. Sisters of Battle are doing great. You know, AdMech is doing a lot better. Obviously, Dark Eldar are still top. I think they've won the last 4 majors, maybe. So they're still kind of your boogeyman list, and that's really just because of that, you know, Agents of X stratagem. Maybe not just that, but that certainly helps. But right now in 8th edition, you just have a lot of diverse lists in the current meta, which is really awesome. It means you don't have to necessarily worry about going up against the same list in all 6 games or 5 games or whatever it may be. But just about every list you do fight is going to be good in its own way. So when I played Bug Eater this a couple weekends ago, I think I talked about this a little bit, but I ended up going 5-0, 6th round I lost, or 5th round I lost, sorry. And honestly, every one of those games was tough for me, but every one of them was fun. Every one of them was different. You know, it wasn't just the same thing over and over again. So I'm really happy with where 8th edition has come. And just the fact that the Games Workshops themselves are such a more open company. I mean, if you're not following the Facebook pages that they run, the Warhammer community page, 40k Age of Sigmar, whatever it may be, definitely get on that, because there's some just really good stuff they've been putting out. Their Warhammer TV is awesome. The daily videos, whether it's painting tips or something funny, have just been really cool. Even Forge World's been opening up quite a bit. If you actually email Forge World now, they're pretty quick about responding to you. They won't give you any information, but at least they get back to you. So, you know, they've been releasing new rules left and right. There's always something new, which kind of brings up maybe another video I'll talk about, which is release fatigue. You know, how much is too much? There's no amount that's too much. But, you know, when I look back at 2nd edition, which I think is kind of where I started, maybe 3rd's really where I started with Dark Eldar, but 3rd, 4th, 5th, I didn't play any 6th, kind of dropped out of it then, and then 7th. I don't think I ever had as much fun. Maybe 5th edition, and that was about it. And that's when I think I was playing Simhan Eldar, so the all Jetbike Eldar list, which wasn't very good at the time, but it was fun to play, and it had a lot of tricks and things up its sleeves. The only thing I miss, I think, because I really got heavy back into the tournament scene in 7th edition, was all the USRs. Now, I know a lot of people complained about the USRs, and they couldn't remember them all, and blah, blah, blah. But I have a pretty good photographic memory, so, or whatever the reading one is. So if I read something, I tend to remember it. So I was really good at knowing what everybody's codex had and what they could bring and what their special rules were, and I think that helped me succeed in that meta. So whereas some people just, they get to your table and they had no idea what you had. So but the meta then was also the same lists over and over and over again. So you either had your Demi Battle Company, you had your War Convocation, you had your all Jetbike spam Eldar, and that was it. Or Taudar, Riptide spam, Riptide Wing, sorry, and that was it. So I'm really happy with 8th edition so far. Sorry this video just kind of rambled for a bit, I apologize. But tell me what you guys think. what do you like about 8th edition? What don't you like? Anything that you would change or anything you're hoping comes out in the future, let me know. Anyways, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.